Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Julie. Thanks for tuning in. This is going to be an all-level yoga flow. I have a couple of blocks with me and a blanket. Feel free to, if you have those props, you can grab them. If not, a folded up towel, maybe a stack of books or two thick books will work as well. So tonight I thought we'd begin by laying down. So coming into any form of laying down that feels comfortable in your body. You might allow the knees to fall in towards one another, keeping the feet wide. Or maybe you allow the legs to stay long on your mat. And just take a moment here to settle in, to completely drop into this moment. So you might notice the floor underneath you, completely supporting you. Noticing what areas of the body are in contact with the floor. Perhaps notice any noises in the room. You might notice the feeling of the air on your skin. And from there, you can begin to draw your focus inward. Noticing any areas of the body that might be holding or gripping, or where you might be feeling any tension in the body. And see if you can allow those areas to soften. See if you can let go of any effort that it takes to just be, just lay here. And I invite you here to take a full inhale through the nose, letting the belly and the lungs expand. And an audible exhale, allowing everything to soften down. Taking a few more breaths just like that. Inhale, fill the belly, fill the lungs. And then exhale, let it go, soften down towards the floor. 2 more full breaths. And on your next inhale, you can allow the fingertips to sweep up towards the sky and allow them to fall back down behind you. Exhale to bring the fingertips back up towards the ceiling and softly land them down by your hips. Inhale sends the fingertips up and back. And then exhale brings the fingertips up and down. We'll take 3 more breaths here, allowing the entire inhale to bring the fingers up and back. The entire exhale to bring the fingers up and down. The next time you bring your fingers up and overhead, we'll pause there. And from here, you can draw the right knee in towards the heart, perhaps bringing your hands around the front of the right shin And you can begin to circle out the right knee in either direction, just starting to warm up through the hips, through the outer thigh, just noticing what's going on in that area of the body. If you're going in one direction, feel free to reverse here. Take 2 more breaths here. Take your time. When you're ready, you can draw the right knee back in towards the heart and taking the left hand to the outside of the right knee and the right arm out to the side, you can slowly start to draw the right leg across the body and over to the left, finding a twist. So options here, you might also make that right arm into more of a goalpost shape if that feels more comfortable. Feel free to lower the right knee down to the ground, or if this is too much, you can always stack the bottom knee underneath. Take a breath. Option to gaze out over that right arm. Full inhale. And exhale to soften down through the right shoulder. Next, inhale brings the hips back down to the mat. We'll slide the right leg out, draw the left knee in towards the heart. Again, you can start to make those circles. You might notice that this hip feels completely different from the other, and that's perfectly fine and normal. Just noticing what's going on in the body. When you feel satisfied with those circles on the left side, you can bring the right hand to the outside of the left knee, left arm out to the side, and again, you can begin to draw the left knee across the body over to the right. All those options apply on this side. Feel free to stack the knees, shift around to make this comfortable to you. Full inhale through the nose. An audible exhale to soften through the left shoulder. One more breath here. As you're ready, we'll slide the hips back down to the mat. You can bend through both knees. And we'll plant the feet on the mat, knees bent, maybe shimmy out through the shoulder blades here. We'll cross the right knee over the left. So just crossing the legs over one another. And if you're already starting to feel enough of a stretch in the outer thighs here, feel free to stay with the feet on the ground. But if you'd like to deepen the stretch, you can start to draw the knees in towards the heart, flexing through both feet. And maybe you bring the hands to the outside of the ankles. And gently, with the hands, we'll press the feet a little bit closer to the body, but then we'll resist with the ankles. You can resist the hands. Option to stay here, or you might lift the head, neck, and shoulders. Feel free to move around a little bit if you'd like. Take a breath. Staying active through the feet here, flexing through the toes. When you're ready, you can set the feet back down, switching out the cross of the legs, left knee over right, flexing through the feet, an option to draw the knees in towards the heart. Take a moment to notice the muscles in the face. Maybe you soften a little bit through the jaw, through the eyes. Inhale. Perhaps you find that audible exhale. One more full breath. Pressing feet to ankle or ankles to hands, hands to ankles. And when you're ready, feet can return down to the mat. We'll uncross the legs. You can heel toe the feet out to be about as wide as the mat. And just allow the knees to kind of windshield wiper from side to side, releasing any tension in the outer hips. And when you're ready, you can make your way onto one side and begin to press yourself up into a comfortable seated position. So from here, we'll roll right over the knees and come into a tabletop shape. So that's wrists under shoulders, knees under hips. Feel free to grab a blanket or a towel for underneath the knees here. So find your stable foundation here. Allow there to be space between the fingers. We'll press down into all 10 knuckles. Lengthen through the spine. Take a breath. Inhale. Maybe find that audible exhale. And from here, we'll press the ground away, rounding through the spine. Perhaps the chin finds its way down towards the heart, hollowing out the belly. And from here, we'll draw the hips back onto the heels. So keeping this rounding in the spine, we'll start to make our way back up into tabletop. And allow the belly to drop on an exhale. Maybe the heart lifts, the hips lift. Exhale to press the ground away, round through the spine, hips towards the heels. Good. We'll take 3 more breaths here. Take your time. Rounding as you come up. Exhaling as you find that cow tilt of the pelvis. Exhale to round. Hips to heels. Keep going at your own pace here. The next time you find the hips back towards the heels, we'll pause there. Feel free to widen the knees or keep the knees touching, whatever feels best. And you can begin to walk the hands over to the right side of your mat, so as far over as feels comfortable. And from there, you can begin to walk the fingertips maybe a little bit forward of the right, or perhaps you set the left palm on top of the right. You can begin to explore shifting the hip back and to the left. So making a little bit of space between the hips and the rib cage. Allowing the shoulders to soften. Taking a big inhale. Expanding through the back body. And an audible exhale out. Softening through the belly. In your own time, making your way back through center with the hands and over to the left side. Feel free to explore here how far over you bring the hands, how much you shift the hips back, really finding a variation that feels best to you. One more full breath here. As you're ready, you can bring the hands back through center. And we'll inhale to rise back up into that tabletop position, lengthening through the spine. So finding length from the crown of your head all the way down through your tailbone. And we'll begin to really knit in the ribs. So bringing the 2 sides of the rib cage in towards one another, bringing the navel up towards the spine. From here, you can slide the right foot back. And you might keep the toes lowered on the mat, or perhaps you lift them up, really peeling the pinky toe to point down to square the hips down towards the mat. Option to stay, or you can shift the weight into the right hand. Maybe you reach the left fingertips forward. If that's where you are, really reaching through the fingertips, but still peeling the shoulder back so it's in its socket. Keeping the gaze at the front of the mat. You might start to feel a little bit of warmth in your center. Inhale. And as you exhale, you can draw elbow to knee underneath the belly, rounding through the spine. Take an exhale. Inhale, everything comes out long. On your next exhale, left hand out to the left, right foot out to the right. Inhale, everything back to center. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale, everything long. Exhale out to the side. We'll do this 2 more times, and if your left hand is still on the mat, no worries. You can always do this just with the right leg. Wherever you are, 1 more breath. From here, left hand returns down, right knee returns down. We'll begin to step the right foot between the hands, coming into a low lunge, keeping the right knee directly over the right ankle. Feel free to shift back on that left knee to find a form of this shape that feels comfortable. So if you're right on the kneecap, you may want to scooch that left knee back a little bit. Left hand plants either on your mat or on a block inside the right foot. We'll begin to circle out the right arm. And just like with the knee, you can alternate directions. Maybe find one direction for a while and then the other. Just starting to wake up through that right shoulder. We'll take about 2 more breaths here. As you're ready, right hand returns down to the outside of the right foot. We'll tuck the left toes, lift the left knee, and step it back, downward facing dog. So feel free here to keep the knees bent as much as you'd like to find a nice long spine here. Again, pressing through all 10 knuckles, lifting up and out of the wrist by lifting the hips high. Take a breath. Feel free to move around a little bit here, maybe pedal out through the heel. And from here, we'll begin to slide forward, sliding the shoulders over the wrists, coming into plank. So your knees can stay lifted or you might lower down. Take a big inhale. Exhale to send you back up, downward facing dog. Inhale, slides you out to your version of plank, knees lifted or lowered. Exhale, downward facing dog. Then we'll take 2 more breaths. Take your time, and as always, take a rest whenever you need it. Last breath here. The next time you find yourself in your plank, if your knees are lifted, we'll lower down. Slide the left foot back, press into the ball of the left foot. And again, you might stay right here. You might lift the left foot. Maybe you shift the weight into the left hand and reach forward with the right. Take a breath. Find that activation in your center. Find that length in the neck. Inhale. Exhale, elbow to knee. Inhale to bring everything long. Exhale, right hand out to the right, left foot out to the left. Inhale, everything long. Your breath, your pace. Do this about 3 more times. Good. The next time you find everything long, we'll pause there. Right hand comes down. Left foot makes its way between the hands, finding your low lunge. Planting the right hand on your block or the mat. You can begin to find some circles with the left arm. Maybe noticing if there's any difference between sides here. Reversing directions when you're ready. One more breath. Begin to set the left hand down outside the left foot. Again, tucking the back toes, lifting the back knee. We'll step it back, downward facing dog. Take a breath. So really lengthening the hips up towards the sky. Bending the knees as much as you'd like to allow that to happen. Pressing the heart towards the leg. You might stay right here, Or you might start to lift the right foot up. So just like before, we're gonna peel that pinky toe down towards the mat to keep the hips square. Take a breath. As you're ready, you can step or maybe help with the hands. The right foot between the hands here will lengthen through the spine, lift through the heart. Take a breath. And when you're ready, left foot steps up to meet the right, forward fold. Take a moment here to maybe sway side to side. You might grasp opposite elbows, allowing the head and neck to release. On an inhale, we'll lift up halfway, finding a long spine, again, length from crown to tail. Gathering the shoulder blades behind the heart. And an exhale sends you back down, forward fold. Pressing down through the feet, we'll sweep the arms out and up overhead. And exhale, hands through heart center. So from here, we'll bring the arms out in front of us, flip the palms up. We'll bring the right elbow, underneath the left, so the arms are crossed. We'll begin to bend at the elbows. So you might stay here and maybe wrap the fingertips around the back towards the shoulder blades. You might bring forearms to touch, or maybe you wrap the forearms and bring palm to palm. Whichever variation you're in, see if you can bring the shoulders down away from the ears and press the elbows away from the body. On an inhale, we'll slowly start to lift the elbows, the heart, and the gaze up. And exhale, just slowly, slightly round the back, elbows coming in towards the navel. 3 more breaths here, take your time. Inhale to look up. Exhale to round. The next time you find your elbows in towards the belly, we'll unwind the arms, sweep the fingertips up overhead, point the tailbone down towards the ground, and start to press the heart forward and slightly up and back, finding a little back bend. And then exhale, folds you over your legs, forward fold. From here, hands come to either your blocks or the mat. And you can begin to step your right foot back. So the right knee can stay lifted, or you might lower onto the right knee here, whatever you prefer. And again, we'll find length through the spine. You can begin to slowly bring your hands up either to your left thigh, or perhaps up fingertips reach up towards the sky. If you're feeling a bit wobbly, feel free to widen your stance. So maybe taking that left foot out to the left a little bit. We'll take a moment to peel the left hip back, the right hip forward, square the hips towards the front of the mat. Inhale. And as you exhale, you can draw the fingertips behind the back, interlacing the fingers, looping the shoulders back and down, perhaps lifting the heart slightly, lifting the gaze. The knuckles can press down and away from the tailbone. You might sink a little bit more forward with the hips, just an option. Take a breath. Good. One more full breath here. Back knee is strong. And when you're ready, you can release the fingertips down to the mat. And we'll step the left foot back into your version of plank. So that might be, again, knees lifted or lowered, or perhaps tabletop, if that feels more supportive. Inhale here. Exhale. We'll begin to shift the weight slightly forward, bend through the elbows, and send yourself down to the mat, keeping the elbows close to the body. So from here, if the toes are tucked, you can untuck the toes. We'll slide the hands down to about your mid-ribs, gather the elbows back behind you, and start to press the heart forward and up, finding a little baby cobra pose. And then exhale sends you back down. Good. Pressing up into our tabletop position. From here, we'll tuck the toes. And again, like you have a string attached to your tailbone, Lifting the tailbone up towards where the wall and ceiling behind you meet. Take a breath, downward facing dog. As you're ready, option to stay or maybe that left foot lifts. Can you keep the hips square to the ground? Full breath here. When you're ready, step or help the left foot between the hands. Finding that long spine, looping the shoulders back. Take a breath. And when you're ready, right foot steps up to meet the left. Inhale to find your long spine, halfway lift. And exhale to fold you forward. When you're ready, sweep the arms out and up overhead. Exhale, hands at heart center, good. Finding those eagle arms again, so reaching the fingertips forward. This time we'll bring the left elbow underneath the right. Find that bend of the elbows, finding your same variation. So either finding that self-hug, forearm to forearm, or wrapping. And again, knitting the ribs in towards one another, keeping the core activated. Inhale to lift the gaze, slightly lift the elbow. And exhale to round through the spine. 3 more breaths. Next time the elbows are down, the spine is rounded, we'll release the fingers, sweep the arms up and overhead, and then exhale to fold you forward. Hands to the floor or your blocks. We'll step the left foot back this time. Again, finding that length in the spine. You might even find an action of squeezing the legs in towards the midline of the body to allow you to find a little bit more stability here. Pressing down through your right foot. You can begin to slowly lift up. Maybe the fingers come to the right thigh or perhaps up overhead. Take a breath. Keeping the heart lifted. Keeping those ribs in towards one another. Perhaps take a moment to soften through the face. And when you're ready, you can bring the fingertips back behind you. Maybe taking the opposite interlace of the fingers. Sliding the shoulders back and down, finding that lift of the heart. And notice what's going on in the lower body. So still pressing down and back through the right foot, lifting up through the back knee, Take a breath. As you're ready, fingertips release, back down to the mat. Again, find your plank, knees lifted or lowered. Shift the weight forward. Bending through the elbows, send yourself down. As you're ready, sliding the heart forward and up, finding your cobra. And exhale to lower back down. From here, we'll press the hips up and back onto the heels. Take a moment to maybe circle out the wrists if they're bothering you. Just take some rest. And know that you can stay here for as long as you'd like. If you would like to keep moving, you can start to make your way back up into that tabletop shape. We'll tuck the toes, send the hips up and back, finding your downward facing dog, your last downward facing dog. And when you're ready, you can step or maybe hop to the top of your mat, finding a forward fold. Inhale to find your long spine, halfway lift. And then exhale folds you forward. Pressing down through the feet, we'll sweep the arms up and overhead. And on an exhale, we'll bend through the knees, send the hips back and down, fingertips reach forward. So coming into chair, take a breath. So notice your feet parallel. They might be hips distance apart, or maybe you bring them together. And then notice what's going on in the back of your body. So a lot of the times here, the spine kind of wants to pop out to the back of the room. So see if you can lengthen the spine down towards the back edge of your mat. Heart stays lifted. Maybe you stay here, or maybe you explore bending a little deeper. Inhale. Exhale. On your next inhale, press down through the feet, sweep the arms up overhead. Exhale to fold forward. On an inhale, we'll reverse swan dive up to stand. Exhale to find your chair. Good. 2 full breaths here. As you're ready, press down through the feet. Arms reach up overhead. Exhale, fold forward. We'll do that one more time. Reverse swan dive up to stand. Exhale, find your chair. Maybe stay, maybe a little bit lower. Full breath. As you're ready, sweep up the arms. Exhale, hands at heart center. So from here, we'll come back into not exactly chair, like a little baby chair. So bending your knees just a little bit. And we'll sweep the arms in front of us. And just like before, right elbow comes underneath the left. Bending through the elbows, finding your variation of eagle arms. So wherever you were before. So from here, soften the shoulders. Elbows press away from the body. And then you might explore shifting the weight into the left foot, peeling the right heel up off the mat. And this might be where you stay, or you might explore crossing the ankles here. Or maybe you wrap right thigh over the left. You might be able to hook that right foot onto the left calf, maybe not. So wherever you are, see if you can keep the heart lifted here and the tailbone lengthening down towards the ground, keeping the ribs knitted in towards one another. Take a breath. It's okay to wobble. As you're ready, if your legs are crossed, you can uncross the legs, release the arms, sweep up and overhead. And then exhale to fold forward, let it go. Maybe swaying a little bit from side to side. And then inhale lifts you halfway. Exhale to fold. Sweeping the arms up and overhead. Exhale, hands at heart center. Good. And again, we'll find that little baby bend of the knee. Arms come out, finding the opposite cross. So the left arm underneath the right, I believe. We'll bend through the elbows, finding your variation. Take a breath. Take a moment to notice what's going on in the shoulders. Sometimes the top shoulder wants to come up way further than the other shoulder. So see if you can level out the shoulders. And from there, shifting the weight into the right foot, maybe peeling up the left heel. Option to stay or take any of those other variations, crossing ankles, crossing legs. If you feel super duper comfortable here, you might explore rounding through the spine, bringing the elbows down towards that top leg, in towards the navel. But otherwise, staying lifted in the heart. One more full breath. When you're ready, releasing through the feet, uncrossing the legs, release the arms, reaching up towards the sky, and then exhale to fold you forward. So your hands might be on the floor or blocks. Wherever they are, let's heel toe the feet out about maybe a little bit wider than hips distance here. And we'll plant the right hand directly under the nose, bending deeply through the right knee, straightening through the left leg. So from there, you can begin to sweep the left hand up, finding a twist. Staying long in the spine. Take a moment here. You might start to rock the weight a little bit more into the balls of the feet here. And notice if that changes your stretch. One more full breath. And when you're ready, look down. Left hand comes down, bending through the left knee, straightening through the right leg, right arm sweeps up. Shoulders relax away from the ears. Coming back to your full breath. When you're ready, look down. Right hand comes down. You can bend softly through both knees. And from here, we'll start to bring the hands down to the mat, bend through the knees, find a comfortable seated position. So we'll begin to bring the soles of the feet in towards one another. So your knees might not make it all the way down to the mat, that's fine. You can leave them up a little bit higher. If you have blocks or blankets, you can place them underneath the thighs for a little bit of support here. So take a moment to shift around. And when you're ready, we can start to grow tall through the spine. Shoulders slide away from the ears. And you can bring your peace fingers to the inside of your big toes. Lift through the heart. As you're ready, you can begin to hinge forward from the pelvis, keeping the heart open. So hinging forward to whatever degree is comfortable. The intent is not to be able to get down super duper low. It's to find an opening in the hips. So wherever you need to be to make that happen is perfect. Take a moment here to check in with the muscles in the face. If you're unable to soften the eyes, or if you're clenching in the jaw, if the breath is not able to be smooth, maybe that is your body telling you to kind of reel it in. Maybe come up a little bit higher. Never forcing anything. Let's take 2 more full breaths here. When you feel ready, you can slowly make your way up into a comfortable seated position. We'll bring the legs out long in front of us. You can set your blocks off to the side. So from here, arms can reach forward. We'll sit up tall, tucking the chin in just slightly. We can begin to roll down to the mat. Take your time. Letting your head be the last thing that makes its way down. Relax your hands by your sides. Take a moment here to draw the knees in towards the heart. Maybe rock back and forth here. Perhaps circling out through the low back, giving yourself a little massage. Good. And then when you're ready, you can set your feet down about hips distance apart, knees pointing up towards the sky. And we'll begin to walk the heels in towards your bottom a little bit more. From there, we'll take an inhale. And on an exhale, we'll round through the spine. So press the spine into the mat. You'll notice the pelvis, the bottom of the pelvis rocking up towards you. And exhale to lower down. Find that natural curve of the spine. We'll do that one more time. Inhale, press the spine into the mat. Find that upward rocking of the tailbone. Exhale to lower back down. Do that one more time. Inhale to rock the tailbone up. We'll pause here. And then keeping the core engaged, we'll start to lift the hips. And perhaps here you shimmy in the shoulder blades behind the heart. Interlace the fingers. Take a breath. Noticing the knees. If you feel the knees kind of flopping out to the side, see if you can peel the knees in towards the midline of the body like you're squeezing a block. Taking 2 more full breaths here. When you're ready, releasing the fingertips, slowly rolling down to the mat. Taking any last movements here you would like. So if you'd like to find a little bit more twisting in the spine or take any other shapes that you'd like to round out your practice, feel free to do so. then once you're ready, you can start to make your way into your final resting pose, Shavasana. So feel free to just lay on your mat. You could use your props in any way you would like to be able to get comfortable. And I'll sit up so you can hear me. So once you have settled into a shape that feels restful to you, you can again tap back into that awareness of the present moment. Again, noticing any sounds in the room, noticing the mat underneath you, maybe noticing if any new tension or ease is present in the body after you've moved a little. Not judging anything, just noticing, observing. And again, you can begin to come back to those full belly breaths if that feels comfortable. Inhaling through the nose, filling up all the way into the bottom of the belly. And exhaling out to let everything soften, let every muscle release. For these last few moments, if you notice that your thoughts start to wander, maybe you bring them back to the sensation of your breath, or perhaps you bring your attention back to the feeling of your body on the floor. As we finish up our practice, perhaps as you become aware of what's going on in the body, you set an intention for the rest of your evening. Feel free to stay and rest for as long as you'd like. Thank you so much for practicing with me, and I look forward to practicing with you again. Thank you so much.